What if someday we had a house with a basement and we made it your office slash recording area? Would you like that?
If I had that, I would totally make it out to be like the typical recording studio that everybody has,
Yeah.
where it's just like fucking red curtains in the background. There's like a fucking neon sign that just says the show's name or my name, or
Yeah.
maybe it's like the outline of my face or something like
No,
that.
it's got to be some generic, like, on air one.
Yeah, that will also be on there, and I
It's
will
going to be a very
always
bright room.
yeah, I'll always be like one of these old people who have like successful YouTube channels where they call it like television stations, and I'll be like, we are the number one rated television show in America. People, it's like we have so many viewers, we have so many.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll have like weird, wacky sets of like like those what do they call those like shit little fucking bobblehead things?
Oh my god, the Funko Pops.
Yeah, the Funko.
I
I will
those.
have like so many of those.
I will burn.
Of
They're
my
not
favorite
allowed
of my
in my
favorite
house.
shit, like Captain America
No.
and Thor and the Flash. That it's gonna be all the cool stuff, and there will in the corner will be a like life-size replica of the Adam West Batman, like a fucking figurine statue that I have commissioned for my YouTube channel that gets me an easy 1K per year.
Gay programming.
Welcome to Gay Programming. Welcome to another episode. As always, I am your host, Fem Marks, and I am joined by Angsty Vegan. Boop boop. What's up, boys? How you doing? How you doing, Angsty Vegan? I don't know why I'm using our fucking usernames. We don't really do that. But I'm actually Marcie. I usually go by Marcie, and that's my boyfriend over there, who actually refuses to use their real name. It's actually
It's Merlin.
Oh wow! You just dropped your name for the first
I
time.
have
Wow,
not
this is
dropped
a
my
really
name for the first
significant
time.
episode of Gay Programming. We have just done a name reveal.
Yeah, I'll tell you my full name and social security number as a bonus right now.
Oh well, no. That's for the Patreon episode.
Oh, well, no, they get my credit card info.
Well, I mean, yeah, they also get that at the $10 tier, but at the $5 tier, you get access to Merlin's social security number.
Yeah. $1,000, I mail you a copy of my birth certificate.
You can. At the show's cost with our massive budget.
Well, after we get that 1,000, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's my funds. That's for my
Excuse
YouTube channel.
me.
That is not subject to the Gay Programming
It's
LLC.
my identity that's gonna suffer fraud.
Anyways, welcome. This is Monday, another Monday, because that's when we record. Hashtag I hate Mondays. But we're just chilling, you know. It's mostly a good old chill day. Just got off of work. Merlin's off work because he's unemployed.
That's not true.
Yeah, it's true.
I have a full-time job.
But we're here to entertain you for another hour or so, to fill your little delicious ears with succulent sounds and words of queerness. So this episode is kind of been its main focus, I guess, was kind of selected by you. Mm-hmm. So I'll give you the kind of floor of if you could tell us what we're going to be talking about mostly today.
Yeah, so it's definitely a topic that we've touched on in a lot of things because it is relevant to a lot of things. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to talk about like the concepts of queer assimilation versus queer pride. Because like, you think about it, a lot of the activism for queer rights is very heteronormative and cisnormative, and it kind of paints queer people, in liberal spaces anyway, as another flavor of cishet people, when in reality we're like our own people with our own culture and history in a lot of ways. And not to like focus on what divides us or whatever, but at the same time, it's true.
Well, to have it, like, not even what divides us, but to have an appreciation and a true, like, understanding of our identity.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really seem to be on the docket for anybody's, point in, like, we especially see, just, like, especially in, like, the Democratic Party and a lot of minority communities, I'm sure, have had similar frustrations with probably the only party you can vote for, because the other one wants you dead.
Yeah.
It does not matter what you are.
Yeah.
They want you dead. But anyway, so yeah, that's your, like, one party, and it always feels like it's, especially nowadays in its PR, is very aware that it needs minority communities' support in order to, like, be successful. Because the only way that, like, we ever have Democratic presidents all hinges on the fact of how many people come out, how many people show up and vote. So that's as the Democratic Party is a very empowered, like, is the only way they can win anything, to win their seats. So they, in their PR, seem to be very aware and very focused and very concerned over the problems of, in particular with our community, the trans community. As Joe Biden so lovingly put, there are at least 3 genders. But it doesn't, I'm sure, though, while there's a lot of parading around and celebration of diversity in the Democratic Party, it often rings pretty hollow, especially when you look at who the Democratic Party is mostly populated by, which is old white men who are wealthy and come from rich families that often enslaved and were the reason, all, like, who have the relatives who were either the enslavers or the fucking, the birth of the policy problems that we have.
Yeah.
So it's very frustrating when the only party that seems to represent queerness doesn't really seem to represent queerness other than just putting us on a fucking badge and saying that we support you.
Yeah, no, and especially not queerness in its, like, unfiltered form, because there's, like, this was a conversation I actually had with a close friend of mine in the bookstore the other day. They put it really well as just kind of, like, the divide between, like, a lot of the queer community and, like, cis gay white men who are, like, upper middle class-ish, and they lovingly called it LA gays.
Oh yeah.
But, like, just kind of that divide, and how in a lot of, so-called activism spaces, like, Democratic rallies, or like a lot of industries or organizations in the nonprofit industrial complex, like, a lot of them advocate for that kind of gay, but then when you're also, like, a drug user or a sex worker or non-white or, like, whatever, then that support just stops completely and you're, like, swept under the rug.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely this, I don't know if this, like, connects directly with what you're saying, but it's something that, like, is ringing with me, is that for those who don't know, whiteness doesn't actually exist. It's a power structure that has been invented to basically, homogenize power, maintain the status quo, and keep those who want to keep power keep on having it. And their sons and daughters will continue to have it, and so on and so forth. And there has now, at least in America, we have seen consistently throughout its history, people kind of being homogenized into whiteness. There was a time, and my Italian relatives love bringing this up all the fucking time, but there was a time when Irish and Italian people, when they first showed up here, they weren't too welcomed. There were some places that were a little racist towards Italian and Irish people.
And then we became honorary white people.
Oh yeah, and then they worked. And then Irish started applying for the sheriff and position and getting it, and becoming really a part of the system. But anyways, those cultures, like many others, got homogenized into whiteness. They were no longer Italians. They were no longer Irish people. They were whites. They were Americans. And more importantly, though, they were white Americans. And now we've seen in culture where cis gay people have now been also homogenized in large part into the system, into whiteness and the privileges of whiteness. And I'm sure eventually there might be a time where white trans people will be homogenized into whiteness and be a little bit more. Who's to say? Who fucking knows? As a white trans person, I'm hoping, let's win one time, huh, folks? I'm joking, but this is the process of empire. This is why the fucking founding fathers were big fetishists over the Roman Republic and the empire that was able to create. They realize that there are times where or not really them, but the power structure that they created has taken those lessons to heart and continued to homogenize and gentrify communities in order to instill power.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, and you really kind of see it in anything that can be painted willingly or unwillingly in the whole hetero cis white suburb normative moral value nuclear family kind of way. And with cis gay people, for example, it can be very oh, this is a white picket fence household. It's just 2 men or 2 women, which is a little wacky, but whatever. They still go to the homeowners association meetings, so it's fine. And I think you even see that kind of beginning with the trans community as well, because when you see the whole thoughts and stereotypes of binary trans people who are very okay, I'm FTM or MTF, but in a very I do exactly what the gender roles for my desired identity are, versus gender non-conforming trans people. I think there's a very different level of treatment in a lot of circles to those 2 groups.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very aware of people who have those struggles, and even I myself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the roots of that struggle, myself, very personally. And I do think that, I know last episode we talked a little bit about transitioning and the need to be the mental outlook of the transition, how important that is, and really kind of it's the main kind of point of everything. But also to a more darker root is that a lot of people make their transition about conforming.
Yeah.
And about and I see it, and maybe I'm a little bit more aware of it. Maybe you see it in different ways with your own journeys. But me and mine with the M to F transition is that I notice that being very omnipresent and almost kind of a really a big push for, and a lot of kind of destroying consequences kind of come from that conflict and that need to be exactly the problematic sex standards that women already face generally, and then a trans person in their transition kind of also being sucked into that big giant black void of conflict and self-denial and just pain, just straight up pain.
Yeah, no, I mean it's
the patriarchy, it's for a lack of, that's what it is,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it does, when people choose to kind of go outside of that mold of what trans people should be, I think they're treated the same way that cis gays were, still a little bit to this day, obviously. But because, like, I don't know, I think a lot of people, especially when you hear debates about, like, oh, should kink be at Pride or whatever, and you're like, dude, like, not very long ago, queer people were considered, like, sexually perverse and nasty, and, like, I don't know, I feel like kink is kind of inherently a part of Pride, because for a long time, even unjustly, Pride, like, queerness was considered very, like, deviant and kinky, and obviously that's me getting into a really niche point, but
Also, just stop being fucking prudes. Like, why? Since when do we need to completely like burn this like mentality, this Protestant mentality we all have with the like think of the children, like fuck the children, like they did like fuck them, like who cares?
I mean,
like they should like if they see it, they're better off because they're more interesting for the benefit. If they're stuck in their fucking suburbs and like stay in their Bobby Hill mentality for the rest of their lives, they're not going to be the successful prop comics they want to be.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely no reason that Pride should inherently be family friendly, but like, yeah, no, part of me is kind of like, well, I mean, I support like non-sexual spaces, but like somebody at the park in like a leather dog mask is not like going to scar your 12-year-old by any means. Like,
no, I mean, I saw way worse. I mean, I saw a snuff film when I was 12. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, I'm dead inside already. I'm a 12-year-old who started smoking American spirits because I have a beard now because of my misery.
It's a lot. It's a lot to unpack, babe.
Yeah, I know. My therapist won't see me anymore. They won't take my calls. They said they were bumming me out. I don't know.
God. Did I ever tell you once I had a therapist tell me that life just isn't for everybody?
Wow, man.
She was very religious, too. It was just bad.
Life isn't meant for everyone. Like, I don't know. Was she
like
talking
11.
to you?
Yeah, I was like 11, and she said it. Direct eye contact, like...
Well, no, she said it, like, did she say it in reference to you? That, like...
yeah, no. Like, I just got done, like, talking about something for, like, 20 minutes and, like, crying, and she just looked at me and went, life just isn't for everybody, huh? And I think she meant it as, like, oh, I'm sorry your life was so hard, like, it's not working out really well so far, but the way she said it, I literally stopped crying and just stared at her, because I was so like, dude, what the fuck?
Man, was your fucking, like, therapist, like, Kamala Harris? What was that going on, man?
She thought the reason I was depressed was because I watched anime that referenced Satan, so... It was a lot.
Oh man, I can't. I would have loved to hear what her opinions are. It's like, yeah, well, what do you do for fun? It's like, well, I smoke weed and play D&D. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, you old kook. I'm getting out of here. And then I skateboard and do it. And there's like a guitar solo in the background.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what we kind of skipped over?
What?
We normally do like little how have you been life update things in our episodes, and we just...
I mean, I guess we kind of did. I was like, yo, what's up? And you just said nothing. You like blankly stared at me. Just like for like 3 minutes. I edited it out. But
No,
like, it was like 3
not.
minutes of you just blankly staring at me.
Well, we just went directly into the topic.
And then you kind of glitched into the wall a little bit.
Oh, I do that sometimes.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like living in Portland. It's altered things.
It's altered things.
Well, okay.
How have you been? What's been going on?
Life, man. Like I was thinking about killing myself the other day.
Stop.
No, I mean I don't know. I'm just in this, like, I'm even feeling it now. I don't know what's up. Speaking of which, is it tit medicine time yet? It's almost time. I'll finish up this little story and then go take my tit medicine.
Okay.
But, I mean, I'm feeling it even now, this, like, weird, like, butterfly feeling that's just, like, keeping with me and, like, staying with me consistently. And on one part, it, like, fills me right now with, like, a really good, like, positive energy. But also, like, I've been dealing with a lot of, like, negative sensations going on to the point where I'm like, I don't really know why it was, but just like this feeling of like, you know, succumbing to that like fear of the transition where you're like, is this all a mistake? Am I a fucking loser? Am I what am I doing? You know,
Yeah.
like just the
So
madman
crazy
realizes
to
that
me.
they have a reflection looking back at him or
Yeah.
something.
It's so crazy to me. Like, I know that's an incredibly prevalent belief of, like, not feeling trans enough. I've never felt it, like, a day in my life. The second I learned what trans was as a concept, I was like, oh. And I've never doubted it, which I think makes me very lucky, because I could not, like, even knowing wholeheartedly that, like, not being female is what I wanted, I still grappled with a lot of like, do I want to start testosterone? Do I want to like whatever? And obviously, if the answer was no, like you're still valid. For me, ultimately, I did do a lot of physical transition stuff, but I could not imagine like, because mine was I'm trans. Do I want to medically do something about it? But I could not imagine be like, am I trans? Follow-up question, do I want to do something medically about it? If yes. That just sounds like so much. Which is just me bragging over here, I guess. But
Yeah, I mean it's definitely like I'm not like to the point where I'm like, oh god, I need to like correct myself through surgery because I don't think I can ever get to that point of like wanting to, I don't know. But one good thing that's been happening body modification wise is you pointed it out to me, but I got a little bit of boobage.
you guys are little todders.
A little bit of boobage. The boobs are kind of coming in, I guess. Or maybe
Yeah.
I'm just eating too much because I'm a fat bitch. But,
Both are good. Both are boobs, aren't they?
yeah, I guess both are boobs. Both, like, you know, hey, little did I know, I didn't even need to get health insurance. I just needed to eat some Little Debbie snack cakes.
There
and
you
just
go,
keep
babe.
doing that.
Yeah.
And I will get myself a rack of tits.
There you go.
With that, I'm gonna call my doctor and say he's a fucking hack. But yeah, no, that was a good sign. We also went Goodwill shopping, and I got some dresses. So you know the wardrobe has been updating. I don't know if you went through this because like I'm sure you had like a lot of jeans and stuff like that just to go off already, but especially like that moment where you're like, oh, I want to, like, I'm trans, I'm out, I want to be out, and that moment where you're like looking through your wardrobe and you're just like, wow, this is all guy clothes and that's all fine wearing, but like this is like, you know, I don't have a single skirt. And so now I'm like in the process of updating, and slowly but surely, I'm not like rushing or anything, but you know, skirt here, skirt there. But I kind of splurged and got myself 3 dresses and one that's just kind of like a kimono kind of thing.
I had kind of similar problems. I was more like wanting to buy men's clothes and crying in the dressing room because I have quite the ass and men's jeans didn't fit right on me because of that. So that was my experience. And then also, if I did find a pair that fit, which usually meant it was extremely baggy and ugly everywhere else, but I was 12, I was on a mission, I didn't care. I would wear them and be like, I look like a woman in jeans. Very ugly, frumpy, baggy jeans with this weird little dick space that I don't have anything in because I don't know about packing yet. So that was my journey.
Yeah, I mean, my something similar on that is shoe journey of mine, where it's just like, and every fucking, yeah, everyone knows, just like it's so hard to find a woman's shoe to fit a quote unquote man's foot. But yeah, that was always my struggle. But because to start with, I need to like literally go to the clown section of every shoe store to find my shoes. So it's like already hard where it's just like, you go to any like heel store and they're like, oh, what's your size? And I'm like, like dumpster truck size, like just fucking like, just like the biggest, like the giant like foam shoe that you have outside advertising. Let's start there.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I go into like a men's shoe store and they're like, what's your size? And I'm like, do you have a children's department that sells like office shoes perhaps? It's literally happened. Like, I remember before my brother's wedding, we were stressing out because I was like 15. I didn't own fucking formal shoes. We were stressing out. My mom and I were literally in like Walmart, like looking at the men's shoes because I refused, obviously, to wear like heels or anything of that nature, which is a shame. I look and walk really well in heels. Anyway.
It's just a little brag.
Yeah.
A little brag in there.
Of course. And we're like trying them on, and like my heels are coming out of them as I walk, and they're like flopping around because they're too big, and we're like trying to tighten the laces as much as possible. So my mom goes up to someone, and they were like, yeah, do you have like a men's size 5.5? And they're like, no. Do they make men's size 5.5? And we're like, I don't know. So I have small little feet. Is the moral of the story.
It is. They are like delicate.
I can see you looking at my feet right now, and I'm so uncomfortable.
Well, it's just like, I was doing it throughout your whole story, and like literally, like I always knew you had small feet, but then like when you were telling the story, I was like looking at your feet, and I was like, damn, they are small.
Yeah, I guess
they're like freakishly small.
Yeah.
They're like, how do they even lift you? They're like, it's crazy. Like, no wonder you don't run anywhere.
Babe, let's touch toes.
Okay.
Don't do that.
Oh yeah, man, the pictures you guys wish you could see it now. You bet you wish you had the video to this podcast now, didn't you? You bet you wish this was on the Joe Rogan podcast where you could see it. But no, we're too poor for that setup. Hey, no, bring it back. Bring them back.
I'm sorry.
I'm not done with them toesies.
Wait, can we interlace our toes?
I don't think so. You're just so small. I would probably break them.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good.
On that note, thanks for listening. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, yeah, if you want to end it there.
No. We gotta do more than touch toes. One time, my friend, who you always say has stinky feet, even though they do not.
It's true, they do. They have the stinkiest feet in the whole world.
One time, they gave me a pair of shoes that they weren't using anymore because they were moving and didn't want to bring a whole bunch of stuff. And when I put them on, I texted them a picture and said, our feet are indirectly kissing right now.
You're the weirdo. You're always like asking me if I'm like a foot fetishist, which I'm not. I'm just someone who simply finds feet humorous and finds
You literally put my toes in your mouth.
Because it's funny! It's funny!
My will.
It's funny. Listen, because there's so many people out there who have like a disgust of feet, like for some reason, and they are kind of gross. Like I will admit, they're
sweat,
like
yeah.
they're free. Well, not even that they sweat; they just look weird. They're like
fair enough. Yeah,
they're like just like look at them. They're fucking like disgusting. But like I don't have like this great fear of feet that some people do, and I love to just assert that dominance over people. And just like fucking assert that over them, and like I have done it to some of my best friends will attest. Some of them, anyways. There's some I won't because I know they have stinky ass feet, and I'm safe about this.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, a lot of my friends will attest. The good smelling feet ones will attest that I have put their toes in my mouth to make them or myself laugh. Most of them don't laugh, but I laugh all the time.
Man.
Most of them are going, ah!
Yeah. Rip headphone users.
I don't care about them.
I like what happens with like every episode where we start off with like a very clear focus and then we're like, feet!
Well, we don't always talk about feet. For first-time listeners, let it be clear, this is the first time we have extensively talked about the issue of feet. But
it always divulges into something just incredible, and I love that about us. You know, it's our dynamic.
Well, that is our dynamic, but it has been clear this is the effects of the 9-to-5 work week. I mean, this is what the brain divulges into with the chaos. I mean, Karl Marx said it best, that shit be funky.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Oh, wow.
In fucking Das Kapital,
okay.
Volume 2. It's the second one, so not a lot of people read that one.
Right.
But I, on the other hand, have read my theory. I've done the homework, teacher.
Good job, babe.
Yeah. Well, I'll say it confidently enough, at least. And
yeah.
You can't fucking say you don't know.
No,
you don't know.
It's true. I
don't know, listener. I totally read that. I know it. And yeah, you know what my favorite quote from fucking Capital Volume 2 is?
So what's the deal with politics? I don't get it. Am I right, people?
It's a pretty good line.
Wow. I didn't know he was so insightful about even
He's
more.
like a poet, you know? He's like a beatnik almost. You know? He's got such a beautiful soul.
Absolutely.
I love when conservatives are like, oh, hey, did you know he fathered, like, 6 people? Like, did you know that he had 6 bastards and died poor in Berlin? It's like, and you hold this man up as a god?
I know, right?
This mere mortal?
Yeah, I always think that's really funny, too.
But, like, they're completely fucking, like, I don't know, like with Ronald
like Reagan or Trump could like kick a puppy and they.
Oh well, no, I mean like
so
Trump's a great example because like that motherfucker has like cheated on so many people and I guarantee you there's probably some bastards out there. There might be some.
Absolutely.
If he got it up at least once or twice, you know.
That's true too.
But you know, it's probably got and you're fucking. But I guess it's different because he's cool and he's awesome and he's the president. Yeah, you know, but I love that. I love that conservatives.
I think it's funny when conservatives think that you love everybody they hate. Like, they think you can't agree on anything. Like,
oh, well, yeah, the people who just, like, have omnipresent, like, if you're a leftist, that means Pelosi.
Yeah,
you
right?
you like Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, no, I'll be talking about, like, abolishing like prisons and policing and people will be like, yeah, but Obama, and I'm like, yeah,
I mean, yeah, he sucks. Yeah,
like,
we don't
correct.
like him either. Did you hear that Nancy Pelosi got a tit job? She got big old knockers now.
Are you fucking?
No, I'm not fucking. It was like there was a post and it was like literally like her on the beach or something and she's got like a swimsuit and she's got big old knockers now.
Girl boss.
It is honestly like the most humanizing thing I think I've ever seen. That
right?
That's like that is like I can relate to that at least. I can understand. Like I too, like if I was as rich as her, I would. Yeah, absolutely. Like I would get 3 tit jobs just because I could.
You would get 3 tits?
Sure, why not? Fuck it.
I know that's not what you meant, but I just.
But I could do that. I could do it with her money,
yeah.
with her buku money. With her buku big tip money. Speaking of big money too, since this is just like a variety act fucking episode.
Yeah.
There was you showed me. I wanted to just mention this.
You really like that one, huh?
It's really good. It's really good. I'm sure most people have heard it, but fuck it, I want to bring it up. We found a couple days ago, this story where basically it was found out or it was realized that like fucking Jeff Bezos rents out fucking Space Mountain to ride it alone by himself.
There's this picture of him, and he looks so pathetic, like just a miserable...
I might even make it this episode's thumbnail.
Yeah.
I might, honestly, because it's so good.
Yeah, he's just such a miserable little creature in it.
Well, my theory, because I was telling you a little bit off mic about...
Have you been thinking about it more?
Oh, well, yeah, of course I've been thinking about it more, because, I mean, like, why? What else am I going to think about? Ukraine? What the fuck? Who cares? I'll catch the highlights when it's over.
Yeah.
But you know, anyways, I have a theory that you thought it was sad that he couldn't get any friends to come with him. But I was speculating the theory that he didn't want anyone to come with him.
Yeah, both are very realistic, I think. I mean, like, I think he could get some, but, like, they wouldn't have fun, you know?
Well, yeah, he wouldn't have fun, because he doesn't like being around people. He doesn't, that they cause him anger, and the more people he interacts with, he realizes more and more the aspects of their lives that he doesn't control, and thus is a good example of how he's not a god, which is the greatest fear he has of realizing that. So what he needs to do when he gets in a little fuss or has that horrible, horrifying realization is he needs to rent Space Mountain, and he needs to go alone. And the thing also, you know, again, if it will be the thumbnail, I'm sure. But I find it very pussy behavior that he has Space Mountain. Objectively, probably one of the greatest roller coasters of all time. He has this alone. He has rented it out alone for himself. And the motherfucker chooses, like, not even the middle seat, and 5 carts behind the front. What? Why? If you have the whole fucking thing, you would be the very front middle seat. That is objectively wherever the best seat of Space Mountain. And this pussy is brooding 5 carts below. Like, I don't know. Maybe he rides it every single seat. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the one picture we have. But I doubt it. I just think he's a pussy. And I just think that's a very telling tale of Jeff Bezos, and I will add it to my copious notes that I am taking to eventually make my biopic. My biopic that will be a Broadway musical starring me, where I am a rapping Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, you're basically right now, like, he's in your therapy room, and he was like, I ride Space Mountain after renting it out by myself, but I don't sit in the front row. And you go, oh, okay, interesting, and then furiously type on your keyboard in the notes that you're keeping on him.
I just wonder who he needs to call to make that happen. You know, like, or I'm sure he doesn't do it, but like
Mr. Space and Mr. Mountain, obviously.
Yeah, I guess so, but just like the owner of Space Mountain because where is Space Mountain again? Is that in Universal?
No idea.
I think it's in Universal. I'm pretty sure. So I guess you just, I don't know. Like, do you just?
I mean, I'm sure they rent out for like birthday parties or whatever. So he probably just rents it out and like.
Yeah, I mean, because there was like one time I remember my school had an offer to basically get students to go and go to like Universal, and they'd like rent the whole park out or something like that. Yeah, they have
like a day where like multiple schools.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to go that one.
Really?
I can't say why.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was...
Well, I went, when my school did Universal, I went, and guess what? I was dating a girl at the time, and you had to, like, fill out your form. There were 2 beds in each room and 4 students to a room, so 2 students would share a bed. And my musical theater teacher was gay, and he was also coordinating the trip, and he knew we were dating because we ran GSA together. And I obviously was rooming with my girlfriend and our 2 friends, and... this other teacher we were really close with was like, how is Merlin and insert name here allowed to room together? everybody in this school knows the two are dating, and apparently my friend heard that the other teacher was like, being gay in middle school is very hard. There should at least be some benefits.
So we making kids fuck. That's a guy who has like movie mentality. That's like
I'm pretty sure he got in trouble for like smoking on campus.
Oh, I was hoping it was like
Oh, no, it was
sleeping with a
because of
student. It's
No.
like, you know, being a teacher should come with some benefits.
No.
Like just a fucking monster.
No, unfortunately, they were wise to our tricks, and they were like, you two are not allowed to share a bed. You can sleep in separate beds in the same room, but you are not allowed to share a bed.
You must be at respectful pining distance.
Yeah. Which is funny, because then I slept next to my other friend, who I did not know was a very close sleeper. Woke up with her just... I had like 2 inches of the bed, and she was just like spooning me. I was just like, it's really awkward. My girlfriend's right over there too. But everyone was sleeping, and I was the only one awake, which made it like even more awkward because I was just lying. It was a long trip. It's the story.
I'm just like, I'm sorry, I'm going back to Jeff Bezos. I'm just like, where does he go after? What do you do after you've ridden Space Mountain like 85 times by yourself?
He goes home and he sits in a room that has just white walls and nothing else in it, and like a little white chair in the center, and he just sits there silently.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool life.
He calls it recharging.
He probably does. Nah, like honestly, because he like you look at early pictures of him versus pictures now. He honestly. I know it's an often heard joke, but he straight up is just Lex Luthor. He looks like fucking, and like he's like scary buff now too, but
Is
like
he?
in a really like wimpy way.
Okay,
Like it's like
yeah.
he's buff, but like not in like I'm not scared of him still.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, like I think he might have lost it a little bit. Maybe the divorce kind of fucked with him a little bit, but yeah, no, definitely his transition. He had a glow up, you know. What the kids say.
Yeah.
Is that what they say?
About 5 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, he had a glow up. Yeah.
Yeah. What is this episode?
It's I actually have the name of it
Really?
already. I'm very visualizing it already. It's called White's a Variety Act. I think it's good, you know. It's just like it's
thought provoking.
yeah, it's poetry.
eye-catching, yeah.
Some would say.
Yeah, on the Pritchard scale.
Oh yeah, you want to talk a little bit about the fucking Dead Poets Society?
Yeah, I made Marcie watch the Dead Poet Society with me. We laughed at a lot of it, as we tend to do with a lot of movies.
Yeah, that movie is like, I haven't seen it in like goddamn forever, and I barely like remembered it. I honestly like thought like Robin Williams killed himself. I thought that was like the plot of it.
Oh,
Which would have been a different movie, a very different.
Oh yeah.
But no, there is a suicide in it. Spoiler, but who fucking cares? He's just fucking been out forever.
I don't think there's anybody who's gonna hear this and go, no, I was gonna watch that.
Damn it!
I think if they haven't watched it by now, they don't care.
Yeah, like that, I remember watching it like goddamn forever ago, but like now it's just like, I watched it again, and I very much think I have the same feelings as I do before, is that I do not have the attention span to watch this movie, because it goddamn nothing happens until someone kills themselves, and then the movie actually gets worse from there.
Yeah, no, like that is the second half of it. I watch it more so just because like I've already made it this far. But yeah, like, I told you a little bit.
Like, why do you love this movie? Why do you
First
love
of all,
this?
love, very strong word.
Why do you rank this as your favorite movie of all time? Probably only second to House of a Thousand Corpses.
I don't like
by
that
director
movie.
Robert B. Cummings, a.k.a. Rob Zombies.
I can't believe you left out that his middle name is Bartley.
It's B. Cummings, professionally.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about why you love Dead Poets
I got
Society.
distracted by Rob Zombie's middle name being Bartley.
Stay on topic. Stay on topic.
It gets me. Well, no, I kind of like it because of my own unfortunate upbringing from somebody who was not wealthy, but really wanted to cosplay it. So, like, elementary school and kind of middle school, I did get, like, a lot of scholarships to go to, like, good schools that had obnoxious uniform, like, policies, and, like, I remember when there were, like, spelling quizzes in, like, 5th grade, if I spelled something wrong on, like, the practice homework, my dad would have me rewrite it 100 times. Which sucks if you get like 5 out of 20 wrong, because then you have to fucking sit and write 500 words and you're 10.
Yeah, but what you wanted was Robin Williams coming up to tell you, tear out your papers,
Oh, man.
throw it out, oh yes.
I don't think I would, honestly. If I was in that classroom, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna get in trouble. I don't want to tear it out.
I would just be like, this is a waste of a good book. I mean, unless
good
the books suck. Yeah, it's not a good book. That's true. It's a fucking textbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just don't like it because it's meandering. That's my biggest, like, critique of it. And I guess I, like, appreciate it. And, like, to tell you the truth is, like, even if I don't like this movie, I do like it a lot more than, like, 90% of the shit I see nowadays coming out.
Yeah.
Because it's just, like, it's, again, a movie where it seems like people gave a shit about making it, and there's like, and one thing I guess I can kind of appreciate as someone who really likes poetry is I like that it is a film that almost kind of seems like, oh, we're going to make a poem into a film, and it's like almost because it's like it's very spiritual. It's not real in the like actual context, but it's about these big messages.
And, like, the nuance, yeah.
Mm-hmm. My biggest critique, too, about that, though, is that if it's a film that wants to be about poetry, and is that it's so basic bitch poetry.
Yeah, well, yeah,
it's, like,
but
biggest
it's gotta be
influence.
recognizable to, like, a huge audience was their goal, and you
well,
can tell in their selection.
I wonder, it's almost like, because they keep referencing, like, Walt Whitman, so, like, maybe they're, like, idea was like, oh, we're gonna do like a Walt Whitman poem but make it into a movie. And because it almost does kind of feel like like a postmodern guy like who really loves the romantics of like Walt Whitman, and it's like, we're gonna do that but like put it in the now. And there's like, you know, it's there, like, you know, in particular like the suicide scenes, like really well done, and like a really well shot, really like well like executed scene.
Oh yeah, like the smoke from behind the desk.
The smoke, and like how they don't even have a gun sound. And like it's very like well done. And there's like other examples of that too. And you know, people fucking quote it all the time. Oh, Captain, my fucking Captain. But yeah, it's just like it's you know me, like. I'm a basic bitch, I guess, in a way. I'd rather watch Police Academy 4. I'm more of a simple woman.
I kind of like, in the movie, I don't know why this episode became very intense critique of Dead Poet Society, but here we are.
We needed to kill 15 minutes.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying it. I really like about this movie, kind of the juxtaposition of, like, and I know it's, like, the entire plot point, but the juxtaposition of, like, you know, the intelligentsia and academics and tradition compared with these, like, anti-conformity messages. I don't know. I think it's just kind of a cool thing to have coexisting.
Yeah, I mean, that's clearly, it's like...
Like, that's the whole thing that they were trying to convey. It's not like a personal observation in any sense of the word, but I think it's neat. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's the themes you attract to, like me, and I love the scene from Police Academy 4, where the guy makes silly noises with his mouth. It was fucking... Because he wants to speak. He wants to say what he feels, but he can't. He can only do comedy sound effects.
Yeah.
And that's the heart of the Police Academy saga, and why I consistently
it's really
watch
very
it.
tragic in a lot of ways.
It makes me cry every time. Every fucking time when I see that man making siren sound effects with his mouth, and he wants to say "I love you" to his best friends, but he can't. He can't say that because he can only do the "auga, auga." He can only do that. It's so beautiful. It's so.
Oh yeah.
It's really. Oh my god. It's just like they were robbed of their Oscars. They were robbed of all. The Police Academy 4 deserved a theatrical release, but they put it on VHS and they just put it on store shelves like monsters. But the fans still love it. The fans are still there. We still are there.
Good job, babe.
It's a car. Come on, pass.
It's just hanging.
Oh my god.
Dude, please get that checked.
Oh god, that guy's gonna die tonight. He's a DoorDash driver. He's like making the next delivery, going to the next. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of Gay Programming, the wackiest, craziest podcast in the whole internet.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's quite the title.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you again for listening to this variety act, as I'm calling it.
Yeah, this was a very fun episode.
It was fun. Yeah, I liked it, and hopefully you liked it too. I just feel like, especially like near the end of that conversation, I was kind of like getting really like negative vibes and like kind of sinking. So I'm glad we kind of jumped out and just kind of talked about whatever. So, but yeah, thank you for listening to another episode of Gay Programming. I'm ending the podcast.
Goodbye, friends.
Well, no, not yet. We gotta plug. We have a SoundCloud. That's where you can listen to this podcast. That's where you're listening to it now. But we also have Instagrams. Angsty Vegan is my boyfriend's, Merlin. He posts personal stuff. If you want to follow a trans friend, that's a good start. They're really good. Great person. Wrote a book. And I'm Fem Marks. I write poetry and make zines on mine Instagram, and there's also the Gay Programming Instagram, where memes are broad, and you can also be updated on when episodes come out. So yeah, follow all that stuff, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, friends.
My childhood days. Hold on a minute. My childhood days.